Well, education is good, but if you're not providing enough education to offset the negative education, then you're working against yourself. So first thing we really do is we remove ourselves from the miseducation, starting off with the school system. We need to remove ourselves from the system that has historically been there to put us in a submissive role. Second of all, the new educator, which is the television, and also now the internet system, but the internet system is so broad and so vast that you can choose. But with the television system, you can't choose. It's programmed to you. You can't input. The only thing you can do is absorb from it. And everything that we have as far as the television system is in its numerical breakup is usually 85% negative. We need to remove ourselves from that. We need to remove ourselves from that, then we need to remove our families from that, then we need to remove our communities from that, and then most importantly, we need to use our value base, which is usually surrendered around a spiritual atmosphere known sometimes as a church, which is also one of our prime miseducators. You can't develop yourself if you're constantly bombarded with negative kinds of things. We don't have any control of those things that program us at all. The last black-owned TV station was just sold a couple of months ago. There are a few radio stations coming into play right now, but the frequencies of them alone won't allow too much variance in communication. Once we have no radio stations, and now we're going to have 3. But all 3 of them are 100-watt radio stations, which gives you maybe a 6 to 9 mile radius, maybe, depending upon your highs and your lows. If you don't unify your educating curriculum or your programming format so that you all are disseminating the same positive types of information, then that's not going to do us any good. If you have one station over here that is giving educational information and another one over here is talking about shake your booty, then you're throwing things off. You're fighting a war like you're winning it. You're having fun doing those kinds of things, thinking that you are free, but you're actually keeping yourselves enslaved. Education is the key. This is why they have not let us have it. And we're not going to get it still asking the oppressor to give it to us. We're going to have to create it ourselves, even if it means going through a period of time of reincarnating, maybe. We have to wash away the old. Chinese ran into this problem, and what they did is that they annihilated everyone that had the wrong conception, and now they're the number one in the nation, based upon a unified direction, making everyone function in the same particular manner, even almost to the point of dress. People might not want to go for that, but it has its values. The main thing we have to understand is the family basis is predicated on your environment. Males and females come together to proliferate.
Meaning? Proliferate meaning?
To expand. But that doesn't necessarily mean just the numbers in the family. It means those things that are around you, to make things grow. Depending upon where you are, depends upon how you do that. In the past, you were either a herdsman or you were a farmer. Different kinds of lifestyles would cause for different kinds of resources. The woman would have these types of responsibilities and the man would have these types of responsibilities. If those things are not defined based upon your need and your growth, then you become helter-skelter throughout the whole plan. So just because you bring a male and a female together, if you're not in control of your family, in control of your environment, with the understanding of what you're going to do to proliferate that environment, then all is for naught. So that educational piece is very important, not only for expanding growth, but for internal growth. And then the elements of spirituality, if you don't believe in someone being more divine than yourself, then that makes you divine and makes much more of a responsibility upon you that you don't do no wrong, seeing that you see yourself as one who does not do wrongs. So that whole piece, that's why we're at such a late date, because the oppressor has allowed for us to do the most serious thing that we could possibly do, and that's to alienate ourselves from our children. To alienate yourselves from your children and take the side of an oppressor talking about the bad children, which are yours, is almost as bad as a black person saying black folks ain't no good. Ooh. How stupid and brainwashed can an individual possibly be saying that someone who is as himself or herself is no good, because it also identifies you as being no good also, and an inferiority complex, and then you go into a Christian domicile and throw away all the rest of the commandments and talk about you only need one, love thy neighbor as thyself. And if you don't love yourself, then where does that leave your neighbor? All these kinds of educational processes are things that we have to go through, and we have to go through them very quickly because we are already in the downward twirl. We're in the downward twirl. We're on the back end of it. And it's a hard climb up, no less